Zelensky's first month in office, he was given a threat letter, effectively by the U.S. State Department, where they had something like 70 U.S.-funded NGOs who wrote a letter to Zelensky ordering him not to cross the below-listed red lines, or else there will be political instability in your country. Elections were held on March 31st, 2019. April 2019 is when elections conclude. This red lines memo was issued in May 2019, 1 month after the new elections. Now, the Ukraine Crisis Media Center, guess who funds the Ukraine Crisis Media Center, who is writing this red lines memo? We present a list of red lines not to be crossed. Should the newly elected president cross these red lines, there will be political instability and you will be smart mobbed, rent-a-righted out of office. This covers everything Zelensky is allowed to do on security issues for Ukraine, foreign policy issues for Ukraine, economic issues for Ukraine, national identity, language, and education and culture issues for Ukraine, media and information policy for Ukraine, government functioning for Ukraine, whether you can take a shit in a public toilet or not in Ukraine. And who is this message coming from? It's coming from the U.S. State Department, the U.S. Embassy, and Usaid, the CIA. And who else? The National Endowment for Democracy, the CIA. Oh, and who else? Fucking NATO. And who else? Internews, which is the Operation Mockingbird funded by the State Department. Oh, and Chemonics, which is the private NGO CIA. Literally, the creator of Chemonics said he created Chemonics because he always wanted to operate a private CIA. Okay? So this is coming from the CIA, the State Department, and USAID with a bunch of other partners internationally, as well as fucking NATO. And that is who is telling the newly elected president, just 1 month after the election, less than a month, everything that he is and is not allowed to do on security of the country that he's got elected to run, foreign policy, economic issues, national identity, language, education, and culture issues, media and information policy, and government functioning. So who's really running your fucking country? If you're not allowed to cross these red lines, lest political instability is unleashed on you by the U.S. State Department, the funding arm of the CIA, and NATO. We, the underside, members of civil society organizations, know your fucking CIA cutouts. These are the democratic institutions funded by the U.S. government, funded by NATO, funded by the State Department, funded by USAID, but you don't want your fingerprints on it. You don't want the State Department's fingers on the gun. You don't want the U.S. Embassy's fingers on the gun. You don't want USAID's fingers on the gun. You don't want NATO's fingers on the gun, because that would put the motherfucking lie to the concept of democracy and foreign interference, like they said about what Russia did to us. No, 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 no. It has to look like it's simply coming from independent civil society issuing red lines memos to control the government of Ukraine. Doesn't want its fingerprints of looking top down, because that's a diplomatic incident. That makes Ukraine look like a vassal state. So they astroturf the bottom up. But everyone knows who the bottom up is speaking to, especially Zelensky, because that's the only reason he got into power in the first place. Just all of these State Department funded organizations. It's crazy. By the way, the Ukraine Crisis Media Center, it's the same network that did Russiagate here in the U.S. Ukraine is not allowed to decide its peace posture with Russia. Now, mind you, this is 3 years before Russia even invaded. Why? Because they wanted to militarily reconquer East Ukraine. So they did not want peace with Russia. So Ukraine is not allowed to negotiate with Russia unless Ukraine's dog owners, the U.S. State Department, lets them. That's what they define democracy as. The dog owners. Okay? They're supposed to be a sovereign country. I thought they had democratic elections. Oh, no, 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 no. Unless you want political instability unleashed on your streets, that's a red line not to be crossed. Ukraine is not allowed to vote their way out of joining NATO in 2019 unless political stability they want to be unleashed by the State Department and NATO on their own government. Civil society is the fake astroturf front of CIA ops, CIA blob ops shops. If you ignore us, we will unleash hell on you. Oh, but they're just civil society. No, they are the astroturfed, pumped-up assets of the State Department, the CIA, and NATO. And if you ignore them, we will unleash political instability on you. But this is why I say control by democratic institutions. You think that's just Ukraine? That's every country that we put our claws on. The democratic institutions. 70 institutions comprised of mobs of their own people, all answering the State Department call to serve as a white blood cell to attack the virus of an elected government so that it cannot escape the immune system of the blob.